So I want to welcome you all to the Tax the Rich rally. Oh man, all that applause that I had y'all do earlier. How y'all feeling? Hey, this is the Tax the Rich rally. Why are we doing this? Because we deserve to be respected and get what we need for the 99%. Y'all agree? When I say something good, I need y'all to somebody cheer me on. I look good in my green. Come on, y'all. So this rally is sponsored by the Working Families Party of Rhode Island, Revenue for Rhode Islanders, which is the coalition that I'm the coordinator for, AFL-CIO, the Rhode Island Economic Progress Institute, SEIU 1199, Teachers Union, Climate Action Rhode Island, Reclaim Rhode Island, Rhode Island Housing Advocacy Project, Save RIPTA, and Indivisible. Do you want to know why there are so many co-sponsors? Because we all know that this needs to be passed not later, but now. We want to tax the rich now so we can get $190 million every year for all the things that everybody has been saying we needed and couldn't afford. We have a deficit. We have 10 reasons here, but I said earlier we have 99 reasons and more for this to happen now. So we are not gonna delay this any further, but I want to get your chanting skills a little bit, test it out again. So at the count of 3, we're gonna do tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. Come on with the rest, Jackie. Tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. Y'all sound good. Tax the rich, 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 tax the rich. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, even that little last bit, tax the rich. Yeah, you be a solo. Go ahead. Rhode Islanders are struggling. The federal government is cutting vital services. Elon Musk and his cronies are securing huge tax breaks. The state is facing massive cuts to healthcare, public transportation, education, and housing support. We have our own state deficit. That even with the new estimates, there's still a deficit. And we have needs for our kids, for our wise ones, our seniors, for our everyday people, for those who ride RIPTA. We have a governor who's driving off right now that is willing to veto this if it passes. We need to let him know that we need this money for us, the ones who make Rhode Island as great as it is and as great as it can be. It is all of you. All of you make Rhode Island what it is. And remember that when they are giving more breaks to the top 1%, you are what matters. You are what is essential. You are what makes Rhode Island the best that it can be. And you represent that every day just by being you. Give yourself a round of applause. So I'm going to call up our first speaker. The bill is run by 2 people right now. They're the sponsors, the lead sponsors. Feel free to stay with us as you're walking. Babies matter too. I'm just saying. We want our babies to have options when they grow up. That's our future leaders. So our first, yes, both our sponsors are here. Representative Alzate Senator Murray, they are the ones that sponsored this bill. We have been trying for 6 years. In Massachusetts, it took 11 years. And you know what that $2.9 billion that they got on their first year paid for? More child care seats. More MBATA improvements to their bus service. Better issues and all the road improvements, all the bridge improvements, all paid for with that money. We need all of that. We got a bridge that you can walk over faster. This money can help all of that. And I care more. I don't have children, but I'm a mother. I'm a mother to Rhode Island. I'm mother. Mother is more a verb than a noun for me. And there's so many people who need us, who need y'all. And we need to be around for that and not worrying and stressing and anxiety over your next paycheck and if you can pay for dinner or breakfast. Those things are really true. So we're gonna call up Representative Alzate to kick us off. Y'all okay with that? Give her a round of applause, y'all.
Tax the rich! 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 Nice and loud so everybody can hear you. Everybody driving, everybody walking out of the State House, and my colleagues. This is the year to do it. We can no longer wait till next year. We're seeing what's coming out of Washington, and it is important that we get ahead of it before they come for us.
Yep.
This session is almost over. If we're lucky, we have about 30 days left. This is our last chance to do something right and to let them know that we are done waiting. While working people are stretching every dollar, and Butler is cutting health insurance for our friends. That's right. The ultra wealthy in the state are sitting on record profits. We saw this after January 20th. They can afford to pay for their own health insurance and for so much more. This is not a radical idea. It's basic fairness. It's how we fund our schools, how we fund housing, healthcare, and all the services our communities need to thrive. And not only communities like mine, like Pawtucket and Central Falls, but also our wealthier communities. They will continue to thrive if we pass this legislation and make sure that they pay their fair share. This legislation is based on facts. A real easy one. When Massachusetts passed this, it passed because it was put up to their voters. And their voters wanted this. Their people, their constituents wanted this. That is a fact. Another fact is that the rich are not leaving because, I don't know about you, but they didn't move to Pawtucket or Central Falls and or to Rhode Island when they imposed the new millionaires tax. The no extra millionaires came in because that legislation passed. We are no longer here to beg. We are demanding, and we are not alone. Rhode Islanders, I know that you are with me and the senator when we say it's time to tax the rich. To my colleagues who are up here, who we're about to go into session with, before you go home, before the legislative session is over and we start to enjoy our beautiful Rhode Island summers, let's pass this bill so that all Rhode Islanders can enjoy the summer. Thank you.
Give it up for Representative Alzate! I see Senator Mack in the audience too. She is also doing what we need to for Rhode Island, that 99%. Yes, we care about the 1%, but we want them to pay their fair share. We are not denying any person, but when you look at the real simple truth, they pay less in overall taxes than the people who are the lowest 20%, those who make less than $22,000 a year pay more than 13% of their salaries and pay to taxes. You want to know what the rich do, that 1%? Like 8%, 8.5%. The middle class pay about 10%. So even if we pass this, they will only go to 9.1%. And that's still not equity, but it's at least fairer. And that's what we need, and we know we need the money. Right? We need the money for everybody that's standing here and more. Look at the signs around you. Medicaid saves lives. There's one thanking Senator Whitehouse. Our congressional staff are doing what they can in really tough circumstances. Save Ripta just walked up, and we love them. We know how many people use the buses. All of our Providence students going to high school use the buses. They need quality, they need routes that they can rely on, they need drivers. And we'll have a driver speak in a little bit. So I'm going to have our other sponsor on the Senate side, of which her bill is being heard tonight before Senate Finance. Senator Murray. Give it up for her.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank Representative Alzate for being in this fight with me for 6 years. 6 years we have been asking for this. We are at a critical time. At the federal level, we're looking at a potential passage of the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, with the bulk of the benefits going to the wealthiest Americans. If this bill passes, it would be the largest upward transfer of wealth in our country's history. And the potential cuts to programs, to the people, the programs whose people's lives depend on. I will speak louder, is this better? The wealthy have been benefiting from state and federal tax cuts for decades. And we know they will get even more tax cuts. We know that that's coming over the next 4 years. But at whose expense? Ours. This is why we need to make sure that the top 1% wealthiest Rhode Islanders pay their fair share of taxes. This is about fairness. This is about equity. You know, everyday folks are just struggling to get by and having to make that choice whether to buy groceries or pay their utilities or pay their rent. Moms are skipping meals so their kids can eat. People are skipping their medication and rationing their medication because they cannot afford it. Families have had to double up in apartments because there aren't enough places to live that they can afford. This is absolutely out of control. Enough is enough. This proposal that Rep. Alzate and I have been pushing for years would create $190 million in new revenue for our state each year. $190 million. What could we do? With $190 million, we could fully fund our public schools. We could pay for meals for our kids in schools. We could pay for mental health supports for our kids in schools. We could bolster healthcare. We could fund RIPTA. We could do so many things. We could lift children out of poverty. We could restore the cuts to pensions. We could slash the tax on Social Security. We could do a lot of different things. But this bill needs to pass.
Yes, yes.
So taxing the top 1% creates tax fairness. It addresses social, racial, and wealth inequity. And this is really all about fairness because the millionaires and the billionaires are not going to save us. The facts and the data disprove the myth that they're going to flee our state. Quite the contrary, this proposal can help to fund the vital programs that everyday hardworking Rhode Islanders depend on and strengthen our state. It's the right thing to do. The time is now. Please stick around. My colleagues need to hear you. They need to see you. They need to know that 99% of their constituents want this bill to pass. So please make your voices heard. If you haven't signed the petition, please scan and sign the petition. That is something that you can do right now. If you can stay for the testimony, that's great. But we want to hear all of your voices in that building. Blow the roof off.
So you heard Senator Murray talk about some of the things that this could pay for. We have people that are going to speak specifically to certain issues. And one of the things we do know that we desperately need is to save RIPTA. There are bus drivers who are fathers and mothers and caretakers to their elders. There are students who need to get to school on time, and this is the only way because we don't do school buses in Providence for the high schools. There are essential workers that need to go back and forth to feed their children, to work. There are your lovely people who do all the cooking and the chefs and the everyday people that use the buses. There are those who use the buses just because they want to make it a better planet. If we don't have RIPTA, you don't have that option. We don't live in Boston or in New York where there's subways. We have RIPTA. So we need to really save RIPTA. There is a deficit that is not covered by the governor's budget. So we need to let them know. So we have with us Tommy Cute. He's an AFL-CIO bus driver. Give it up for Tommy!
Good afternoon, everyone. Tommy Cute. I'm a bus driver for RIPTA. I've been a bus driver for 45 years and also a member of ATU 618, which represents the employees at the Transit Authority for 45 years. There is a slew of a legislative package, and I'm not going to go into every bill, but I certainly want to thank Representative Alzate and Senator Murray for all their hard work on behalf of bus riders and the employees at RIPTA, along with many others, Senator Zura, Representative Tanzi, I don't know, I thought I saw her out here, but just to acknowledge their continued support of mass transit and public transit in Rhode Island. RIPTA was actually established out of a bankruptcy of a bus company called the UTC back in 1966. And their enabling legislation was established to take over failing bus systems in the state of Rhode Island, which they have done through Bonanza, Newport service, even as late as last year or the year before, we took over service to Fall River that Peter Pan abandoned. One of the major roles of RIPTA is to provide mobility access to those who are handicapped and cannot get on a regular transit bus. This is the paratransit program, and this is going to be greatly impacted if those cuts happen and that money is not provided to fill RIPTA's corpus to cover the deficit of $32.6 million. Those folks will be disenfranchised from society, from jobs, from health care, from recreation. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think you folks do either. Over 4,000 students in the city of Providence who depend on RIPTA daily to get to educational schools, high schools, vocational schools, they're going to be disenfranchised. They're going to have to either walk or it's going to be burdensome for the city to add more school buses, and some of those school buses cost as much as $500 to $600 a day. Cost the taxpayers. It's just a situation that has been left to fester year after year, where sustainable funding has not been provided to the transit system that is so vitally needed across the state. We are one of only 2 states that are statewide border to border. That's Delaware and Rhode Island. They're the only 2 states in this country that provides border to border transit service. We go from Woonsocket to Westerly, and the only place we really don't operate is Block Island. And I think that they have tried to help them with getting some vehicles out there to support the community in Block Island. This is a major issue, and for those who may not use the bus system, there's been a survey done by RIPTA that you're no more than 7 minutes away from a bus stop in the state of Rhode Island. That's pretty good for the metropolitan area. That's good for any metropolitan area to be that close to a bus stop to get service. So again, I'd like to thank all the reps and senators that put bills in as part of the RIPTA legislative package. And I think it's only fair that those at the very top should share the burden that the rest of us have all the years, making sure that they have the same transit service and access to that service. It's only fair that they pitch in and contribute more to run these operations and to save RIPTA. And I'm proud to be a 45-year employee. I'm going to be retiring next month. And I've met Rhode Islanders in every community and city and town in this state. And I know how hard they work and how hard it is for them to get up in the morning, to get a bus or maybe 2 buses to get to work. It's just a struggle before they even start their day. I think they need a hand. Better bus service. More access for disabled and elderly passengers with a ride service, expanded hours. Give them the freedom that they deserve to live their lives as productive citizens in this great state. I want to thank you all for your attention. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you. Thank you.
And we are going to thank Tommy for his service. 45 years. I won't say how old I was when he started. But that's a long time, 45 years. And some of our bus riders, and I remember being a kid on RIPTA. That's how I got my job at the Providence Journal. Dropped a notebook on a bus at RIPTA. So, great story, I'll tell y'all another day. That's not what we're here for. We're here for Tax the Rich! 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 Thank you. There are representatives and senators standing right with you. They may not be speaking, but if you want to raise your hand, if you are a rep or a senator, I see you. Thank them because they are on our side. They understand what this money can do for Rhode Island, for the 99%. And don't let that fool you. The 1% will be helped by this money too, because a better Rhode Island is great for everybody who lives here. Do you all understand that? All of Rhode Island is benefited by this money, by these changes, by these improvements. So when people talk about small businesses and people will leave, you know what keeps them here? Good schools, safe streets, job opportunities, health care, better pay, essential workers, diversity, equity. We could keep talking. I told you there are 99 reasons to pass this. There are more than 99. The top 10 are right here, but that is subjective and it's what we came up with. But there's so many more, and I know everybody has some personal stories. But what we want to do is give a shout out is to our CEIU workers who are here with us. They are fighting every day for what they deserve. We need to thank them just as much as we thank everybody else. Teachers don't get thanked enough. All of you guys deserve a thank you for even being here. But we have somebody from SEIU ready to speak about why we need this money. It ain't for just them, it's for all of us. So Gianna, why don't you come up?
We're here for your support, Gianna.
Hey, look at the support.
Hi everyone, my name is Gianna. I'm one of the striking members at Butler. Try it. Hello, my name is Gianna Piacatelli. I'm one of the striking members at Butler Hospital. Thank you. We've been on an unfair labor practice strike for over 2 weeks because Butler refuses to address the crisis inside our hospital. Poverty wages, short staffing, rising epidemic of workplace violence. Many of us have been assaulted on the job. Some of us have suffered concussions, broken bones, or worse. Management still won't come to the table with a real solution. Let me be clear, no one works at Butler to get rich. We do it because we care deeply about our patients, people facing some of the most difficult mental health challenges of their lives. We believe in this work. But belief isn't enough to pay rent, to keep food on the table, or get the medical care we need after being injured on the job. Butler's president makes nearly $700,000 a year. The CEO of Care New England, Michael Wagner, earns even more, and he lives in Massachusetts, a state that already has a wealth tax. Nope. That matters, because one of the arguments we hear against asking the wealthiest Rhode Islanders to pay more is that they might leave the state. But the truth is, some of the highest paid people in our healthcare system already live in a state with a wealth tax, and they're doing just fine. We're calling for a moral budget, one that values caregivers, invests in behavioral health, and ensures that those who have the most contribute what they can. A moral budget means the people doing hardest work don't have to strike just to survive. We believe in care, we believe in fairness, and we believe Rhode Island can and must do better. Thank you.
Do you all see the countdown clock behind me? Is anybody wondering what that is? When we say the time is now, not later, there are thoughts of people trying to save and wait and see what Trump does next, and then we'll act then. We need our legislators to be proactive, not reactive. So this countdown is we're trying to guessing how much longer they have for this session. We don't want you to come back in the fall and consider it then. We want you to consider it now. The time is now. Can y'all say that? Time is now. 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 Right. And we want people, when we come in and go inside, we want you to talk to the legislators. They won't go in until the bell rings, so they'll be around as we're marching, as we're chanting, when we're inside. Talk to the legislators. Tell them how much you want this. Speak at the hearing today. After they finish with the rise, they will go into session and talk about this. Senate Finance will. But this countdown clock is for them. We want them to know that we need these now, not later. Does that make sense? Yes. So our final speaker, if you do want to talk, oh yes, we're saying something? If you do want to speak and you want some words of wisdom to say to the legislators, see these people right here, see her waving? This beautiful girl right here? Go see her, get some tips. You can read off anything on this. Take a picture of the top 10. You can talk about anything. Make it personal. If you are a caregiver, if you are a mother, if you are a father, if you're a grandparent taking care of somebody else's children, if you're a neighbor and you help out your neighbors during a snowstorm, all this money can help all of them. But we're going to close with one of my favorite people. Nina Harrison is Policy Director of the Economic Policy Institute. They do so much of pushing for the 99% in all of Rhode Island, because that's what this money helps every everybody. We just want more fairness. And so Nina's gonna close us out like the true hype woman that she is. Nina Harrison!
Hello, everybody. If this stops working, I'll switch to the megaphone. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for coming out today to tell our elected officials that the time to tax the top 1% is now. This is not crazy, it's reasonable, it's fair, and it's long overdue. Right now, we live in a state where the majority of single adults and single parents cannot afford to meet their basic needs without help. Working families are being squeezed harder every day by skyrocketing rents, unaffordable child care, underfunded schools, and healthcare costs that keep rising. Meanwhile, the top 1% has been getting richer and richer, thanks in large part to Trump's tax breaks for the rich, which Congress is trying to make permanent. Let's be clear, Rhode Island is not broke. Our state has enough for everyone, but right now it's just not being taxed or shared fairly. Right now, people earning less than $23,000 a year are paying a larger portion of their income in state and local taxes than millionaires do in this state. That's not only backwards, it's unjust and it's unacceptable. This is why we're here today demanding action. We're demanding that our state legislators pass a bill that would raise $190 million a year for Rhode Island by taxing the top 1%. That tax would only apply to pre-tax income over $750,000 a year. I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody who makes that much money. And it doesn't sound like even the directors they just mentioned make that much money. That tax, this would only affect about 5,700 households, but the benefits would be felt by more than 1 million Rhode Islanders. And despite what some people say, rich people will not leave the state if this is passed. They will not leave in droves. That has never happened in any state anywhere that has passed a wealth tax like this, including Massachusetts. We haven't seen hordes of millionaires from Massachusetts coming into Rhode Island. So there's just no evidence to support their claims. They're trying to stoke fear. Massachusetts passed their millionaire's tax, and they've raised more than $2.4 billion to add more child care seats, free healthy school meals for all their kids, and to add free bus routes. We desperately need those things in Rhode Island. And for legislators who have doubts or are still on the fence, we say this: now is not the time to be overly cautious or meek. Now is the time for bold leadership. Now is the time to say that Rhode Island puts people over profits. In light of all the scary things we've been hearing on the news, we need Rhode Island leaders to show courage, because courage is contagious. We all need courage to fight for what is right, and when we fight together, we win. Rhode Island is watching, and we will all remember where elected officials stood when they had a chance to protect us by making real change. This is urgent. We cannot afford to wait for another year or another legislative session. The time to act is now. We have a $250 million state budget deficit. The time to act is now. Rhode Island has crisis-level shortage of quality affordable childcare. 9 out of 10 families cannot afford quality childcare. The time to act is now. Rhode Island has a crisis-level shortage of primary care doctors. I'm losing mine next month with the closure of Anchor Medical. I don't know how many of you have had to wait months or a year to get a visit with a primary care doctor, and that's because our Medicaid reimbursement rates are too low, and we don't have money to increase them. The time to act is now. Rhode Islanders need doctors. As you've heard, RIPTA will have to cut services and fire drivers if they do not get the funding they need in this budget. The time to act is now. Students and the disabled rely on those buses heavily. Public schools are failing too many of our children, and they deserve better. The time to act is now. And if we don't act now, not only are we failing our children, we're going to feel that in our state economy later when we need workers to do the essential jobs in this state, and maybe they won't be prepared because they failed them, we failed them in their public education. The time to act is now. Our state population is aging rapidly, more rapidly than most other states, and our seniors will need investment and support. The time to act is now. Congress is trying to cut funding for SNAP, Medicaid, and Head Start, programs that are proven to work. And they're doing all of this to pay for more tax cuts to the rich. That's not just wrong, it's violent. The time to act is now. People and businesses and essential workers will leave this state if we don't have good schools, affordable housing, good public transportation, or enough doctors. The time to act is now. The budget deficit is not a new problem. Rhode Island has been plagued by budget deficits for years, except for when we got that infusion of federal money during COVID. And we will continue to have this problem unless state officials step up to pass this bill. The definition
is now.
Thank you. The definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If we want to stop having budget deficits and meet the needs of Rhode Islanders, we need to fix our tax system and have everyone pay their fair share. The time to act is now. To our state legislators, I urge you not to balance the budget on the backs of struggling Rhode Islanders.
Come on.
I urge you to pass this bill to raise revenue equitably and to invest it in sectors and programs that help all Rhode Islanders have the opportunity to thrive. To everyone here, thank you for being courageous, and thank you for showing up. Don't stop organizing. Don't stop speaking out. Keep calling, keep emailing. Let your voice be heard in the State House and in every room where decisions are being made in the state. The time to tax the top 1% is now. Rhode Island cannot afford to wait. Thank you.
I'm just looking at all these signs, and we'll just let that drop. And I'm just really proud. I see one hold right here that says, "We all do better when we all do better." Y'all get that? We can't all do better if the 1% keeps not paying their fair share. So we're gonna march in there. We're gonna talk to legislators. We're gonna march around. Right now we know Reich Harris is in there as well, protesting what they need. This will help them too. So give a high five to the Reich Harris people as we going around. But we're in there to disrupt. We're in there to say what we need. We're in there to say what we deserve. We're in to say the time is now. Not later, now. Not in the fall, now. You guys see this? 20 days. That's about how long they have left to be courageous, to be proactive, to listen to the 99% and not those who are in their ear, to listen to people who say they're representing businesses and aren't. I am a business owner. I don't make anywhere near that. I am paycheck to paycheck, and one illness and I will be homeless.